No, thank you very much. I must say that I looked at the program and I got frustrated last night because I had seen the venue, WSS, and I didn't know where it was, which suggests that one is very old. When I left, these buildings were not there. But I got correspondence that it was the Vet Science Stadium. So I was quite scared because I had not addressed the stadium in years. I decided to put on my jacket, but I realized I didn't need it. But I think, one is getting old, and a lot of these buildings were not there when I left in 1997. And Kenya College brings great memories to me because we were there before a lot of the Kenya students came to Vets. I think a lot of them came in 1994, 1985. And I always felt cheated by the Kenya students because by the time they came to Vets, we had fought major battles. When we got there was no pub. We fought many battles for pub. There was no pub, and people used to be given, like one potato and salad and all of that. Black people, those things do not mean much. By the time you came, the battles had been won. So you guys are cowards. Like Adile, I was disappointed that, looking through the documents, it wasn't clear what we were going to do today. Whether we're going to ventilate about the need for a bank, or if a decision had been taken indeed that a bank was to be established. So that was my first disappointment. My second disappointment was that I realized that the organizers of this program were not following the news. Because I think you need to be relevant. So I had hoped that after this program will be taken to the shipping, sex and wealth, the currents of this matter. Having said that, I must make one or two disclaimers. One is that I do not want to be accused of stating things that are not factual. One of which is that I'm told that there are two black banks, UBank and VBS. But my understanding is that what we are talking about here is a bank that has national presence. The problem with those banks is that they were regional banks. So you have the vendor Mutual Bank Society in the Tuelo area, Limpopo, and you have the UBank, which really is owned, I think the other shareholders, but in the past it was owned by the Chamber of Mines and the National Union of Mine Workers. Now we have a big mine we have a big union in the mining sector, which is questioning the bank. You have other shareholders, including the King. But my understanding is that they do not have national presence. And what we are talking about here is a bank that has national presence. But there's something interesting about VBS, because a lot of the people in South Africa would say that we did have a black bank and that was African bank, but we had other banks. We had Milk Bank in the Eastern Cape, we had VBS in Limpopo. I think this for me is important because the way that they were established was quite interesting. Because we had a captured market. You see, we took a decision in the Eastern Cape that all civil servants will be paid by the bank. And that's what happened in VBS. All the vendor civil servants were paid by the bank. Of course, the government structure wasn't great because you had to be part of the vendor aristocracy, which is something that we probably do not need today. So I'm told that there were savings that are associated with the Mpepus and Makulanas who could only serve in the board, but the other people were not allowed to serve in the board. I don't think that's what we're trying to do here. And my friend responded, I always remind him that he's a rat, so it's not really, it's not a Zulu, because he doesn't have an age. So we try to get people who actually assist with the bank. But when I was invited to speak, when you're invited to speak, it's important to give the impression at least that you thought seriously about the issues. And the best way of doing that is to come across as well-read. And I read 2 books which I think are important in terms of centralizing my thoughts. One is a biography of the first president of the ANC, John Ujuh. And there's something interesting about the book. You know, he studied in the US, and when he came back to South Africa, he studied at school, Osami, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the things that he did was that he bought into this idea that if you want to build a school in South Africa, you needed some white patronage. And he felt that the South African whites were not listening to him. Having studied in the US and through his friends in Natal, he went to the UK and he raised a fair bit of money, started the school. But the school was perpetually underfunded, and he got frustrated. But in fact, one of the things that he said before he died, please don't quote me on this one, he was so frustrated that the only white person that you can trust is a dead one. But that's a story. But what he did was that he went to the US, he went to the UK, he raised funding. But the school was terribly underfunded. But every time he got funding, he was told that, please change your governance. At some point he was told that we do not think that you should continue as principal. We should appoint a principal. You can stay on as chairman, but without administrative powers. Of course he resisted that. But obviously because he didn't have money, he ended up agreeing to that. He said, no, I'll remain principal, but give me a chairman. And it turned out the chairman was more powerful than the principal. The second thing that they insisted on was that please don't involve yourself in politics. So if you look at Ujuh, he was actually a president in name only. He could not go to London, you know, the deputations that Blackie and them had. He was not party to that. Well, there's one that he took part in. And when he was there, he realized that Blackie and them were coming up with radical ideas. And he said to them, maybe I should go back to South Africa because we need more money, because they run out of money. I'll raise money so that you guys can continue with this thing. And then when he came here, he was confronted by his funders. And he said, hey, mina see in insurance into this. Ila masoma jeba money because mina angzama kumela lezi into insurance. Because he was not in control. But the most important point is that when he came back, he reflected. And he realized that in his own village, there was an illiterate fellow called Isaiah Shembe, who had started the Shembe Church. Completely illiterate, he couldn't write, couldn't read. But Shembe never had the problems that he had. So his church was well funded. People who contribute money, the church was well funded. And then he sort of reflected on this thing and he realized that it's because Shembe had not underestimated the power of his members. The majority of whom were poor. But don't contribute as poor members, 2 rand, 5 rand. And Shembe had the money. But he didn't have the money. Every time he flew to the UK for 2 weeks, he would end up staying there for 4 weeks, come back, no money. If he gets money, there were conditions. But Shembe did not have that problem. He always had money. And he could do whatever he wished to do. Of course, the problem with this, churches is that when the leader dies, the institution tends to die because, the son's uncle, everybody says, no, in his dream before he died, he said I should be the one to succeed. When he was there, the church did not have the problem. And I think this is important because I think one of the things that I've observed, especially from my days in the Banking Association, is that when black people talk about a black bank, they have this sophisticated idea that we'll sit together here and the PIC will put in 10 billion rands. The white banks will come together and say, morally we have this obligation to have a black bank. We are putting in 10 billion rands. It's not going to happen. I think what we need to do as black South Africans is to start small and appreciate the power of our people. And I think it's something that I think we have not done as black people. I am not by any means suggesting that these existing black banks should not be transformed. I think there's room for that. There are people who should buy, if they have money, they should buy 51%. But one of the things that we lack as black people is emotional value. You can buy ABSA today, you can buy 90% of it, but when you talk to black South Africans, they will always say ABSA is a white bank. Yeah. What we need is a bank that displays black excellence, that kids and our grandkids would see as a bank that was started by black people. But for that to happen, we need to start small. So I'm very excited that this is an initiative that appreciates what you can do individually and collectively. So there should be no obsession with competing with ABSA on the model of establishing this bank. I think that would be a major, major mistake. About 4 years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I was invited by a group in my home province of Mpumalanga. I'm actually realizing that I haven't stayed in Mpumalanga for over 23 years now, but when I cleanse my guilt, I always go to Mpumalanga just to help people with something. So I worked with a group of women, and there was this MTNB scheme, and these women together managed to put together 30 million rands. And it worked. Those of us who were sophisticated tried to raise 200 million rands and failed. I think there's this obsession with doing things that are sophisticated and not appreciating what our people can do. The second book that I hadn't read for many, many years, I'm not honest, it's a book that was written by a first African American to obtain a PhD in history at Harvard. The miseducation of the link. As I was reading the book, I felt that the book was very uneven. But there was a part that got me thinking, and it says, why is it that in America, remember this was like around 1909 when we wrote that book, it said, most of the businesses in the United States were written by people that we could ridicule as illiterate, unsophisticated people. It was not like people in the churches were not educated. He said one of the things that these people did was that they were comfortable working with the masses. So they would go to the church and get money from the church. They go to cooperatives and go to cooperatives. Whereas the educated people would actually put together a prospectus and go to the major banks. The majority of people, quite frankly, were hostile to black people. And I think it's something that I've observed in South Africa. Every time we have this notion of a black bank, people, every time there's an opportunity to buy into some bank, that's when black people get excited. African bank, suddenly I was seeing a lot of black people putting together consortia to buy into these banks, which is great, good luck to them. But I think that if we're honest about what we can do as black people, I think we need to start small. Let me just say that it's not the first time that a black group has come together to look at this thing. I used to work with, not work, but I had discussions with NAFCO, and they wanted to establish a cooperative bank. And on paper it looked great, because when you talk to NAFCO, they tell you that they have 100,000 members or so. This is a good number to start a bank. But when you talk to NAFCO, when you engage with them, there are two things that are clear after a while. One is that there's a huge gap between the claims they make and what they can provide in front of you. They'll tell you about 100,000 members, but you ask them, can I see the names? And they say, no, our database is not up to scratch. The second one is that NAFCO has mastered. They have mastered the legal process in South Africa because they're fighting every time. That one appeals every time. So the idea of starting a bank remains that it's an idea and nothing has been done to date. So my caution to this meeting is that look at other initiatives that black people have tried in the past. Not just in terms of starting a bank. You know, when it comes to cooperatives, a lot of cooperatives have failed. In fact, the last time I checked with GTI, I was actually surprised that more than 30,000 cooperatives have been registered with the GTI, and less than 500 are operational. And I will tell you why. A lot of people, when they say cooperative, they think that there's money available, so we're there to make money. As soon as I'm a member of that cooperative, I'm in the money. It doesn't work that way. If life was that easy, we would not start cooperatives. And I think this is important because well, the executives is that you do not want to disappoint people. That people join on the basis that after 2 months, this cooperative will be able to fund my house, will be able to fund my car. I mean, if that's the attitude, I think you guys must just collapse this thing and do something else. The last point before I just agree with the key points is that I'm actually excited that we have this opportunity to talk about something that can fundamentally change our country. Banking is very important because it intermediates. Whether it's schooling, you need banks to provide loans to students. Whether it's business, whether it's BE itself, you need banks to come in and fund. Whether it's manufacturing, you need banks to come in and fund. But there's something that is also important for me is that because it's a private initiative, one of the things that I'm not comfortable about is that whenever there's an initiative, whenever something is failing in the country, that is failing in particular poor people and black people, there's this obsession to start a state thing. So now there's call for a state bank, which is great. I mean, there are state banks that work. Most of the Indian banks are state banks. But the majority of state banks are actually institutions through which politicians dispense patronage. I think what we need from the government really is, one, it must create the regulatory space for private initiatives to emerge. Two, it must create opportunities for private banks to operate. It must make sure that the space that is occupied by the bigger banks is disrupted. Because the sense that we have, and I should not be saying this because I was there to defend the big banks, is that the Reserve Bank is there to protect the status quo. Well, it's good. I mean, you can always get rated by the World Bank that you're among the top 5 in terms of regulating banks and all of that. But I think that you need to disrupt that. But you don't disrupt that by matching, you disrupt that by creating institutions. And I think that an initiative like this one, in my view, does exactly that. The last thing that I observed is that, when you're starting something, sometimes it helps to be modest about what you're trying to do. I read a book about the Jewish community in the United States, and how did it come about that the Jewish people dominated Wall Street and all of that. And actually, it was quite interesting. And I realized that actually it was not proactive. When the Jewish people came, they studied law and all of them. There was so much racism in New York that the Jewish people could not practice law in the disciplines that were dominant then. Wall Street was still small then. So they could not practice commercial law in city and all of that. So in disappointment, they ran away. So they started something that was marginal then. And that was immigration law and banking law, which were marginal areas. And then today they dominate those areas. But they looked at areas that were not safe, and they looked at their strength, where their people were. And I think it's something that black people, in my view, need to do in South Africa. And what are the things that have failed in the past, in my view? And I think lessons that should be brought to bear on this initiative. I think that if you look at the idea of a black bank, it's very old, but it hasn't been realized. But where it has been realized, I think, not just black banks, but where new banks have been established, what are the requirements for the banks to succeed? In my view, you need a favorable regulatory environment. My understanding is that in South Africa, of course, in the past we didn't have the right policies and right laws, but now we have the right laws, like your cooperative bank, your dedicated banks, our banks. We need those regulatory interventions. We need proper market studies, and I think that for me means appreciating our people. And you spoke about this, but I think it's important that we understand our people. You know, this idea that you come with an MBA book and you go to our people, instead of listening to them, actually you're telling them how unsophisticated they are by not appreciating the institutions that exist. I think it would be a mistake. I think the other thing is really governance. Our governance systems tend to be very weak when it comes to these initiatives. We tend to have poor governance structures. And I think it will be a mistake to have structures that are not proper, because we will end up doing things that should not be done. Those of us who serve in black business structures will tell you that there was a time where BMF and other structures were very strong. But because there was no proper governance, they ended up speaking more on who the next leader of the ANC should be than on black business. And I think when you do that mistake where suddenly the cooperative bank will start raising things that have got nothing to do with the bank, simply because maybe the leaders want to be appointed to boards, I think that would be a serious mistake, in my view. I think this point about confidence is something that we have spoken about, that if we talk to our people, not that our people are stupid, but apparently sometimes we underestimate the damage that Putin's people has done on our people. A lot of our people, when you go to them now and you say you're a black person, and you're talking of a black bank, the idea of a black bank is a oxymoron for a lot of people. A lot of people believe that black and bank do not go together. And I think that you cannot change that by writing articles in major publications. You change that by interacting with our people. When you begin to understand our people, what our people are doing, what their frustrations are. Because whether you like it or not, it's there. In fact, I realized that sometimes white people were not as creative as they should have been. Because I actually thought that if a white person went to our villages and our townships and made two claims, one that he was a professor and two that he was starting a bank, a lot of our people would have deposited money with that person. Because of the system, the damage that it has done on our people. But engaging with our people is going to change that, and I think we need to do that because time is not on our side. And I think that we, in a sense, has led us astray because instead of appreciating these little things, we now appreciate these big things. Because even though we're discussing a black bank today, I can tell you tomorrow I can be asked to speak on a black retail group. And even then, you tell our people, no, let's start small. Let's get our small operators, put a buying group together that will buy black people, start branding it, and then start a retail group. No, people don't want that. People say, no, how can we build ShopRite in 2 months? And I think that for me is and of course, most of the time, the advice are not our people. So they don't advise our people to do these things so that they get money out of it. But my view about this initiative is that people should not be embarrassed to start small. There should be no embarrassment. I think if you want to start something big, I think you'll be disappointed. And I don't know the executives what the idea is, but my sense is that there's an appreciation of the work that needs to be put into this. The last point that I wanted to make is that, when you start these initiatives, left hand, people do not appreciate what the bank does. In South Africa,